Hello, everyone. This is Worker Wednesday. We are just waiting a few minutes for folks to get on. And so we ask for a few minutes of patience while my co-host gets on and we get our slides together. So again, welcome to CLS's first Worker Wednesday. My name is Nadia Hefka, and I'm one of the attorneys at Community Legal Services. We're going to be talking a little bit about workers' rights today. And so it's a topic that's on everyone's minds, and we're hearing from a lot of people experiencing issues on the job and also with unemployment compensation. So just waiting for one more of our panelists to join on. But in the meantime, I wanted to let you know that you can find information, up-to-date information on Community Legal Services Facebook page about workers' rights and other issues. Also, you can follow Community Legal Services on Twitter. The handle is at CLSPHILA. So that's CLS PHILA on Twitter. That's where you'll see a lot of information about legal rights as well as campaigns that we are working on. So today we are doing our first Worker Wednesday on Facebook. We encourage you to ask questions on the Facebook in the comment section. One of our folks is going to be monitoring that, and you'll be able to get your questions answered that way through the chat function. We also have a lot of information on the Community Legal Services website. That's www.clsphila.org. So again, my name is Nadia Hefka. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are going to be talking about unemployment compensation, talking about workers' health and safety issues on the job, and talking a little bit about benefits that folks are eligible for, including important healthcare benefits, really important for folks who recently got laid off. So give me just one more minute while we get set up, and we will get started on our presentation. Sorry, let me just see what is happening here. Okay. When my co-panelist joins in, she's gonna give you a little overview of our website and where to find some of our workers' rights materials. But in the meantime, let me get started on some of the information that we wanted to share with you, since that that is not happening right now. Apologies, this is our first one. We'll get all of these kinks ironed out in coming weeks, and hopefully this will go more smoothly. This is our first time doing the Zoom webinar that then becomes a Facebook live stream. Okay, so I'm gonna get started on our slideshow. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. Okay. So, all right, we are going to get started and get you some information first about unemployment compensation. Let's see. All right, one moment, one technical difficulty, and then we'll get started right away. Okay. So here we go. Sorry about that. I'm just trying to get some of our settings correct, which were not correct. Again, apologies for that. I'm going to, we're going to be covering unemployment compensation. That's a really important program for laid off workers right now. As I said, we're also going to be talking about health insurance and other benefits that workers can be eligible for while they're laid off or while they have their hours reduced, and also the right to healthy and safe workplaces. And how do you do that? How do you get the rights as a worker? They aren't necessarily something that are going to be given to you. There's something you're going to have to figure out how to do and how to get by taking certain steps. So we're going to go over all of that. So let's talk first about unemployment compensation. Unemployment compensation, everyone should be getting unemployment compensation if their hours have been reduced or if they've been laid off or business shut down. Any of those kinds of circumstances, people should be applying for unemployment. The best way to apply is online. The address is right there. The thing you should know is that, you know, with 1.8 million people applying over the last couple of weeks, they are definitely very backed up. So the best way to apply is online and not by telephone. Anyone who is getting unemployment can get an extra $600 per week from April to July. So that, I believe that comes out to about $10,000 extra dollars from that extra $600 a week benefit. So we're also going to talk a little bit about a new program called Pandemic Unemployment Assistance. That's a new thing that is just getting started in Pennsylvania. It's really, really important to get the word out about this. This is something that folks can get even if they have never qualified for unemployment compensation in the past. This includes gig workers, self-employed people, independent contractors, but also includes people that maybe didn't earn enough to get regular unemployment compensation. If you just worked a couple of months last year, you might not be eligible for regular unemployment. So all kinds of folks are going to be eligible for this new program called PUA, and we want to get the word out about that. The thing to remember is that anyone who is getting unemployment has to have some sort of valid work authorization. What this means is, unfortunately, undocumented people can't get unemployment compensation, but people who are here on another kind of status, as long as it's some sort of a status, whether it's temporary or permanent, you should be applying for unemployment. Refugees, people on work visas should all be applying. So be aware that some folks that might not have qualified for unemployment in the past can now qualify. So that's really important. And we want to make sure everyone knows that. So if you don't have access to a computer to apply online, I just said that that's the best way to apply. If you don't have access to apply online, you can call our friends at Philadelphia Legal Assistance and they will help you apply online. That is still the quickest way to do it. And so the best workaround we've found for folks who don't have computer access or only have a smartphone, the UC system doesn't work great with smartphones. So we recommend calling Philadelphia Legal Assistance. That's also the best way for folks who need language assistance to apply. Online, they have the forms in English and Spanish, but not in any other languages. So we are sharing this phone number, 215-999-6910, to get help applying online from Philadelphia Legal Assistance. They have some volunteers ready who speak a lot of different languages and can get people hooked up that can't get through. So we are hearing from a lot of people who can't get through, people who are not getting their PIN numbers right away. All of these problems can get backdated and resolved. They are just getting to the point now in the state where they seem to be getting things figured out with regular unemployment compensation applications. And so I know it's hard to say be patient because you have bills to pay, et cetera, but it will get resolved and you will get the back benefits if you haven't been able to apply for the back benefits. The PIN number is something you need to file your claims bi-weekly. So just do the best you can until then and try to get try to get through as best you can. Okay. Next slide. Okay, so now I'm going to talk a little bit about pandemic unemployment compensation. I want to make sure that people are aware of this. It is super, super important to get the word out because a lot of people who can qualify for this might not know that it exists. So pandemic unemployment assistance is brand new. They just opened the portal on the state's website for people to start applying for it. But it's a little wonky, and we've been hearing that a lot of people are getting kicked off. Again, you can backdate your claim once they figure all of those technical difficulties out. So generally speaking, who can get pandemic unemployment assistance is anyone who's not eligible for the regular unemployment comp. You know, regular unemployment comp looks at your earnings over the last year and tells you whether you're financially eligible or not. Anyone else who hasn't been financially eligible because they're not in a regular job that's been paying into the system can now apply for PUA. That means self-employed people, small business owners, gig workers, people who work in certain industries where they get a combination of W-2 income and 1099 income. All of these people should be applying for PUA. For that, the kinds of people that you might have in your family, in your neighborhood, in your life, like ranges the gamut. Gig workers, we think about Uber drivers, care.com workers, but you might also not think about other kinds of self-employed folks like people who own a barbershop, people who are doing some other kind of driving for a living, people who are, my sister-in-law who has a dog grooming business, babysitters, anyone who is self-employed or someone who doesn't have a lot of work history. So someone who just worked a few months in the last year, or even who just started looking for work and their job offer was withdrawn because of shutdown or COVID related things can be eligible. You can apply if you've been laid off, but also if your hours were reduced and you lost a chunk of business. So it doesn't mean that the business has to be completely shut down for this to work. Be aware that you can qualify even if your ability to work has been reduced by a significant amount. Or if you're unable to work. The other situation would be if you're actually unable to work because you are suffering from some symptoms, or you are of COVID, or taking care of a family member. So all of these things can make someone eligible for PUA. What do you get? You get the same type of benefits under PUA that you would under regular unemployment compensation. You would get 26 weeks of benefits, and plus the additional 600. And this is something that's going to be, this is something that can be backdated to whenever you lost your work. So if you lost your work starting at the end of February, then you can backdate your claim for that. They are going to be asking you to provide certain kinds of documents, like 1099s and proof of income in other ways, like tax returns, or you could apply. You could send in billing statements if that's how you would get paid, was through invoices. If you worked in an industry where you're doing events management or other kinds of work where you have some proof of that work, they're going to ask for that kind of proof. But if you don't have that proof gathered together right away, you can send it in later. So that program is still very much in flux. The portal is open for people to apply, but again, they haven't quite worked it all out. You're not going to need a PIN number, but they are setting up a new way for people to report any other income that you might be making. So that's going to be part of it. And that's what's slowing things down, is that it's a brand new program. again, we encourage folks to spread the news. I think freelancers probably are aware of this. Gig workers might be aware of this, but other people in your life, hairdressers, nail salon workers, anyone and everyone should be applying. Unfortunately, again, with PUA, if you're undocumented, you're not going to be able to apply or be eligible for that program. But anyone else that you can think of in your life that has no income right now should be applying for PUA. Even if you were in the Peace Corps last year and you just came back and you started looking for work, apply. That's what we're telling people. Apply, 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 and go to that portal on the website so that you can apply. So I'm going to hand it over to Liz Sultan. Hi, Liz. Oh, hold on, you're muted.
Hi, I'm going to share my screen with the slides now.
Okay.
So I want to talk about benefits that are available through the County Assistance Office for people who have lost their job or lost income. So many of you who are watching might not have needed to apply for these benefits in the past, but we want you to know that there are additional supports available to help make ends meet and to help families get by. So these benefits include help with health insurance, food costs, and cash. I apologize that my voice is a little scratchy. I'm going to try to speak up. So these benefits are benefits that you apply for through the County Assistance Office. The best way to apply is online at compass.state.pa.us. The website is listed here. There's also a Compass app which you can use not to submit an initial application, but to update your information of your application. You can also get help applying over the phone from Benephilly. The phone number that's listed here is a Philadelphia specific number. That's 833-373-5868. And that's for help with applying for Medicaid, SNAP, or cash assistance. You can also get help sorting out your health insurance options, which can be a complicated question, from the Pennsylvania Health Access Network, FAN, the number listed here, 877-570-3642. And I'd like to speak a little more about health insurance options because I know that's a big question on many people's mind. So if you had health insurance through your job and have lost coverage, you might qualify for free or low-cost health insurance. You might have gotten a COBRA notice from your work, but it's important to know that COBRA coverage is not your only option, and it's really not going to be the best option for most people. COBRA can be very expensive because it's basically you paying to continue the same coverage that you had through work. And Medicaid, which offers free health insurance, might be a better option for you, or the Marketplace, which offers low-cost health insurance. So Medicaid's income limits are higher than you might think. You can still be eligible if you have income of around $2,500 a month for a family of 3. And in addition, children can be eligible for CHIP, which is a cheaper insurance option for kids and families with incomes of up to $45,000 a year for a family of 3. Or you can get not free, but subsidized CHIP coverage if you have incomes of up to $65,000 a year for a family of 3. For the Marketplace, you have to keep a deadline in mind. We really want to make sure that people are paying attention to this now, because I understand that many people have lost income in March. So their 60-day deadline to apply for Marketplace coverage is coming up in May. So if your income is too high for Medicaid, the marketplace is going to be your best option. You apply online at healthcare.gov. If you apply for Medicaid, which is where we would recommend that people start, to see if your income qualifies you. If your income is too high, your application gets kicked over to the marketplace, and you still have the clock stopped on that 60-day window to reflect that you've applied in time. If you miss that 60-day window from the time that you lost health insurance coverage, then you have to wait until the end of the year for the general enrollment period for the marketplace. So we really want to encourage people not to wait on applying for Medicaid or the marketplace and figuring out what their options are so that you don't have a period between now and the end of the year when you don't have coverage. Again, for help sorting out health insurance options, we recommend that people call FAN. I'm going to bring up the number again here, 877-570-3642. And I am going to kick it over to Nadia again for some information about health and safety.
Great, thank you very much. So the biggest things that we're hearing from folks right now have to do with, anyone who is laid off is having issues with unemployment compensation. People who are still working are having issues with health and safety. So these are the two biggest requests for our services we're getting right now. And so I want to just start off talking a little bit about health and safety concerns. I want to remind folks that we are taking questions on Facebook. If you want to put your question in the comment section, if we don't get to it today, I don't know how many questions we have. We're on Zoom, so your questions are going to get relayed back to us. But if we can't get to your questions today, I want to remind folks that CLS is open and taking cases. We are at 215-981-3700. You can also access our website at clsphila.org. That's clsphila.org. And you can follow us on social media. Obviously, you found us on Facebook today, but if you also want to follow us on Twitter to see what's new with us, or check our website for the most up-to-date information, we recommend doing that. But again, we're going to get to your questions at the end of our presentation. So super important for folks who are working, and anyone who is working and working outside of the home right now, I would say is an essential worker, or should think of themselves as an essential worker. And the question is whether they're getting the right health and safety supports from their employer. So what are we talking about here? The first thing everyone should know, no matter your immigration status, no matter the type of job you have, everyone has the right to a healthy and safe workplace. But the question is how to go about getting that if you're not getting it. So that's what we're going to talk about. The first thing that I start with when looking at a question like this is I recommend that you take a look at whether your employer should even be operating in the first place. You're hearing a lot in the news about employers reopening, but there is still a shutdown order. Both the Pennsylvania governor has put down a list of life-sustaining businesses that can be open. Others can, in very extremely limited circumstances. If there is an online complaint form at the Pennsylvania Department of Health, if you believe that your business shouldn't be operating at all, and we have heard from folks whose businesses continue to operate in violation of that order. So that is definitely happening out there, maybe not as much now as before. Take a look if your employer, if you are working and you're feeling unsafe, I would start with the CDC and OSHA guidelines. There's guidelines that explain to various different kinds of businesses what they should be doing, what kind of precautions they should be taking between masks and gloves and distancing from coworkers, distancing from customers, Those are the kinds of things that people need to be thinking about, and it's going to vary. Every workplace is different. Not every workplace has customers coming in. Those that do have different concerns than a facility that's doing some sort of food production work, right? And so the Pennsylvania governor's order also outlines particular protections. So I would encourage anyone who is working and feeling unsafe to start there. And then let's think about things that are specifically needed at this time. If you feel like you're not getting gloves, if you feel like you're not getting, well, you would know if you're not getting gloves, but if you feel like your employer is not taking these concerns seriously, has not instituted the right protocols, after you review the CDC guidelines and you decide, you know what, my employer could be keeping customers out of the store and just letting them in one at a time, could be doing more deep cleaning, could be giving us face masks instead of making us responsible for our own face masks. So what do you do if you're not getting what you need? What we recommend that people do is start off by talking to your coworkers and either going to your boss together, or even better, put it in writing. Why put it in writing? So that you have proof that you had this conversation, and you have something for them to respond to. It doesn't have to be a petition. It can be an email, and there's different ways to go about it. But if you want to do a petition, there are online tools that we recommend. One called coworker.org you can check out. They have all kinds of campaigns around the country where workers have put down their demands and asked for public support of those demands to get what they want. Remember, if you're essential, then your employer needs your work, and this can give you some leverage to demand what you're asking, what you need and what you're asking for. You have the right to refuse to work under unsafe working conditions. So you don't have to be in a union to take an action like that. That's something you can do on your own, but even better if you do it with your coworkers. And why is that? You are protected under the law if you take action with your coworkers, whether in this moment of COVID or at any other time. You are protected under the labor laws if you take action together. So that's why it's better to not just go alone and talk to your boss about a situation, but talk to your coworkers and talk to your boss on behalf of your coworkers, and even better in a letter, because if you are retaliated against, and that can sometimes happen, if you are retaliated against, you'll have this proof if you put it in writing. The other thing that happens is that if you are asking for certain things and you don't get them, then you can get unemployment potentially if you quit because you're feeling unsafe. You can get unemployment if you have proof that you tried to work things out and your employer wouldn't give you what you needed. That's another reason to put it in writing, because if you then apply for unemployment, either because you quit because you couldn't work in that situation anymore, or if you, unfortunately, reality is occasionally people do get retaliated against, and we've seen that. But if that happens, then again, you can get unemployment. And like I said earlier, unemployment right now is a little more generous than it's been in the past. The downside of that is the health benefit concern and worry that a lot of people have. So obviously you don't want to, if there's a way to figure this out and make the workplace better and get the equipment you need, then that's where you should start, is by engaging with your employer in some way. You don't have to, if you're worried about retaliation, and a lot of our immigrant clients are very worried about retaliation because they don't get unemployment comp, right? Think about whether there's a dummy email account you can create to just put it in writing. You don't necessarily have to sign your name to it if you have some concerns like that. Also, you can come to CLS in this situation if you're concerned. Obviously, we're here to help in situations like this, and we are getting calls about situations like this all the time. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about sick leave. I think next week we're going to talk more about taking sick leave and family leave. There's a few different programs. There's Philadelphia has a paid sick leave ordinance where you get a week of leave minimum. You can get more from your employer, or you can demand more from your employer. And then there's the new federal law, which is for people who are working. You can get 2 weeks of paid sick leave, but certain employers are excluded. That includes large employers with 500 or more workers, and some healthcare employers are also excluded from that new federal program. So we're going to talk more about that next week, but I want to make sure that you hear just a little bit about it today in case you're in a situation where you need sick leave and you're not getting sick leave. You can contact CLS. Also, you can get leave to provide care for a family member or a child that's out of school. So if you're being told that you need to work, then be aware that this is a right of yours under the new federal law that was just passed recently in response to COVID. If you're caring for a child, it's at 2/3 of your regular rate. Again, that might be preferable to quitting and going on unemployment, especially if you get health insurance through your job, and you want to maintain that job for the future. We're all concerned about what might happen in a couple of months with the economy, obviously. So again, that's something you can come to us for help. And we'll talk a little bit more about that next Wednesday at noon at the next Lunch and Learn of ours. So I just wanted to make sure that to highlight that a little bit for you. And then we're going to talk about it more next week, or you can contact CLS. You can contact us by phone. Even though our office is shut down, we are still monitoring the phones. Leave us a message and we'll get you help no matter what language you speak. Be aware that unemployment compensation is, if you're an immigrant and you have some sort of legal status, it doesn't create a public charge issue. So a lot of folks are worried about accessing public benefits right now. Unemployment is not going to create any problems for you. So be aware that that unemployment is there, and that everyone except undocumented folks should be applying right now for unemployment, even though the system is slow and wonky. Apply, and we will do our best to try to help you figure out what's going on with your application if you don't hear anything. So now I'm going to turn it back to Liz. I think Liz is going to show us a little bit about the CLS website where you can find information, and then we're going to start answering some of your questions.
Thanks, Nadia. I just want to briefly discuss a little bit more in depth about a couple benefits that I sort of glossed over since we have a little bit more time now. So I just want to briefly mention a little bit more about SNAP and cash assistance, and then I will give everyone a little mini tour of the CLS website. So SNAP, or food stamps, is money to help with food costs. Benefits are as high as $509 a month for a family of 3. The benefit range depends on your income, and you can qualify for as a family of 3 if you have up to $2,311 in gross income. So for those of you who haven't been on SNAP before, or maybe you have been on SNAP but your income has decreased, this is the time to look into getting SNAP benefits or to report a decrease in income to the county assistance office. You can report that via Compass or via the app, because your food stamp amount might go up. And then in addition, just to put out there as an option, cash assistance, or the TANF program, is cash for families with a pregnant person or who are living with minor children. There's no cash assistance available, unfortunately, for people who are not in those categories. And for that, the benefit amount is small, and you need to have little to no income. So the benefit for a family of 3 is $403 a month, and your income must be below that amount to qualify. There's also a $1,000 resource limit. So if you have more than that in savings, that program is not for you, but this might be a good option for people who are waiting for unemployment compensation or for PUA to be processed and need income for their family in the meantime. You can just report on the application that you lost your job. That's going to be enough right now to be accepted as documentation of reduced income. So I just want to make sure everyone knows about that. And then I want to give you a mini tour of the CLS website. So clsphila.org is our main site. And from our homepage at clsphila.org here, you can quickly navigate to our coronavirus resources, which are available at clsphila.org/coronavirus. And this is where you'll look for frequently updated resources about how to get help during the coronavirus, how laws are changing, what's available to you. So you can see there's information here on some key facts. And then if you scroll down, there's categories of help. So if you click on the help for workers, it'll bring you to this page with information for Philadelphia workers during the coronavirus pandemic. And something that we especially wanted to highlight here are some flyers and information that we've put out about sick leave and some of the health and safety concerns that Nadia was talking about. We also link to pages where you can apply for unemployment compensation. So here's our page, for instance.
Sorry, Liz, we can't see the page. Do you mind sharing it?
Oh. I'm sorry, I thought it was shared. Let me try again. Sorry about that. Thank you for bearing with us as we work out all these kinks.
I tried to tell you, but Zoom kicked me off for a couple minutes there.
It says to me now that I'm sharing and just gives me an option to stop share. Nadia, do you want to try sharing from your?
Sure.
Thanks.
Okay, so while we take you back, let me pull up the CLS website, but I want to just make sure that we have all the information here for you about next steps and how to reach community legal services and find our information. So Liz, can you see my screen? No? Okay. All right. Okay, here we go. So just so that you can take a look at the CLS website, just want to give you a quick tour of the website. As soon as you pull up our website, you see we have our coronavirus information. If you click on that, you can get to the employment unit site. I'm sorry, it's not loading very well right now. I didn't have it up and ready to go. But our coronavirus information is up on the front page of the CLS website. And sorry, let me try to click on that again so I can show it to you. It's not clicking. All right. In any event, okay, here we go. Sorry about that, folks. We have information here about all of CLS's services, but I just wanted to show you that we have particular information for about sick leave, about the federal stimulus payment, special issues for immigrants when looking for health insurance. So you can find all of this information under the CLS website on our coronavirus page. We are taking questions live on Facebook, so we want to make sure that you know that you can contact CLS if you need additional assistance. But I understand one of my colleagues is on there answering questions live right now. I think maybe what we can do is take a look at some of the questions that have been shared with us and see if some of those we can answer for you now. Liz, do you have the first question?
Yeah, so it looks like the first question is this question about someone who applied for UC in Maryland and then reapplied in Philadelphia. Is that correct?
I think so. So let me just take a look at our chat.
So
for unemployment, you apply in the state where you were working. If you're denied unemployment, if you didn't have enough income, for instance, to apply for regular unemployment, it's really important that everyone knows that they can apply for the new PUA program we discussed. So if you were turned down for any reason, then you can reapply. Regular unemployment, they look at your income quarter by quarter. So, we just entered a new quarter in April. And so it's a new quarter for folks that might've gotten denied a month ago or so, then they might wanna reapply now. There are ways to apply for unemployment. Even if you're living in Pennsylvania and you are working in Maryland, then you should be applying for Maryland benefits. And if you applied for benefits in New York and then moved to Pennsylvania, you would keep your New York benefits with you. So that's what I know about that question. And if we need to answer it more fully, then we'll do so on the Facebook post attached to this live Worker Wednesday. Let's see. It looks like there might be a few other questions. If someone asked about 1099 income, if you are getting 1099 income, then PUA is probably the program for you. A lot of self-employed people get both 1099 income and W-2 income if they're self-employed. And so if you have that kind of situation, then you're probably going to be best off applying for PUA, which is the new program. Unfortunately, they haven't started paying it out yet. But like I said, they're going to backdate it for you once they get the rest of the program up and running. And so check out their website, apply for it now. And then when they need more information and have more of that system worked out, then they will contact you and let you know how to go about filing weekly or bi-weekly for claims. Let's see. PUC, there's another program called PUC that's going to stretch out unemployment benefits for an additional 13 weeks for those people that are still unemployed after getting the full 26 weeks of regular benefits. We don't know exactly how that's going to work yet. Our state is first working on fixing all the many problems that people are having right now with getting unemployment and with getting the new PUA program. So just be aware that if your unemployment is stretching out, normally what you get is 26 weeks in a year. That's basically half a year, six months or so of benefits, but there's an extra 13 weeks that has been added on so far. We don't know what might change in the future, but just be aware that that is coming up in the future. We just don't know yet how they're going to implement it in Pennsylvania. Probably they will make you reapply. Just be aware that that is something that's on the horizon that you can look forward to, is extended unemployment benefits because of this crisis. Go ahead.
And I just want to mention also, as Nadia has already talked about, the additional $600 that's getting added on to people's PUA or unemployment compensation benefits. With all these different acronyms, I'm not sure if that might be what the question was about as well. But anyone who is getting regular unemployment compensation or PUA should be eligible to automatically get $600 added on to their benefits for each week between now and the end of July.
Right. Another question people are having a lot of problems with unemployment compensation, and it's been hard for folks to get through, and it's super frustrating. There is a way to, if you have internet access, they have a live chat feature. Unfortunately, that is also fairly clogged up. One of the best ways we found to get general information on what's happening with unemployment is through the Department of Labor and Industry's Facebook page. So everyone who's watching us now probably has access to Facebook. Check out Pennsylvania Department of Labor and Industry on Facebook so you can get information on what's going on with programs, how to reach them, how to ask questions. Sometimes they are staffing the Facebook page and answering questions there. There's also, like I said, a live chat feature. And someone asked a question about how to reach unemployment if you're having some issues. So I'm going to give you a phone number to call about that, because I was just helping someone this morning who can't get through to unemployment comp. So let me just bear with me while I find that information for you right now. Again, there's an email address where you can get your questions answered within a few days. And then there's a phone number that's available Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. And that is 888-313-7284. Again, that's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. They're easier to reach in the morning, apparently. They get much more busy in the afternoon. I'll give you the phone number again. It's 888-313-7284. That's the unemployment comp helpline for Pennsylvania. But people are having a really hard time getting through that as well. So unfortunately, we're in a situation where folks have to wait a long time to get questions answered. And according to news reports, about 30% of people who have applied for unemployment have had problems accessing it, problems getting the resources from the state, questions answered, or PIN numbers in the mail. So I know it's frustrating, but they will backdate those claims if you never got a PIN number. And you can backdate the claims that you weren't able to call in for. If you've been waiting for your PIN number for a few weeks now, you can go back and claim those. The email address for unemployment comp is uchelp@pa.gov. uchelp@pa.gov. So that's where you can email and get your questions answered, not same day, but within a few days. They are answering those emails. They are overwhelmed, to say the least. They are overwhelmed, and I have called people back from retirement to try to work on this. But our system is old, our computer system is old, and there have been many, many problems with unemployment, unfortunately. Any other questions we can answer for folks now? Let's see.
I think we've covered everything that's been shared in the chat so far. Are there more?
I don't think so. Let me just say that a lot of folks are starting to hear from their employers who want to call them back to work. The same advice I give to folks who are currently working about health and safety concerns, you should be having those same kinds of conversations with your employer. If your employer is calling you back to work and you're not sure what your employer's health and safety protocols will be, ask questions, put it in writing, preferably talk to some coworkers about it as well. Again, if you take some action with your coworkers, you're more protected under the labor laws. So it's best if you can talk to your coworkers about everyone's health and safety concerns. Are there going to be dividers up between me and a customer if I'm a cashier? Are there going to be masks provided? What kind of cleaning is going to be done? Are we going to be informed if a coworker has been infected? These are the kinds of questions people have right now, especially people who have their own health concerns or a family member with health concerns. So if you're being called back to work from unemployment, you should be asking those questions. And Pennsylvania is not automatically going to kick you off of unemployment if you had good cause to turn down a job. So be aware that if you're in that situation, and we're hearing from a lot of people in that situation as well, you should ask those questions. Put it in writing wherever possible, in an email or in texts, whatever you have, however you communicate with your employer. It's best to communicate with your coworkers, but ask those questions. And then if you have your own health condition, you should be spending your time right now maybe trying to do a telehealth visit with a doctor and see if you can get a note about your own health circumstances. These are things that could be found to be good cause for turning down a job. It's all case specific. If they aren't implementing the right health and safety and they are lowering your salary and lowering your hours, then that might be good cause for turning down a job offer. That's going to be up to you to decide on. But there are, if people have real concerns, then you should raise them with your employer and then make your decision based on the best available information you have at that point about your own health and about your family's health. It's a scary time. Turning down a job offer just based on fear of coronavirus probably will cause you to lose your unemployment compensation benefits, or it might. But other kinds of concerns, you should definitely raise them with your employer. So that's another thing that we're hearing a lot about from folks. We welcome folks to contact Community Legal Services. Like we said, we are open for business at 981-3700. Our information is on our website. We will be doing Worker Wednesdays again next week. And in weeks to come after that, watch this space. And we are going to continue to be here for the community to answer your questions and help people in, really kind of stressful, difficult times. We're glad we can be here to offer some advice and some help. All right, I think that's it.
Yep, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.